so much maybe for the people here, but for us to stand here beneath the Holy Spirit and let that Holy Spirit flow through us to you. You know, this is the year of the family, the year of new evangelization. And we have to renew in our own hearts that Holy Spirit. You know, we don't see Jesus with us each day physically. So he's in us through the Holy Spirit, the third person of the Trinity. Kind of reminds me of a story of a doctor who took a trip to Venezuela, to the rainforest. For him, it was a trip of a lifetime. He got on a small plane with all his fishing gear. It was at a rather high altitude, and he barely could catch his breath because the pilot could not pressurize the plane since it was a short flight. And he started to turn blue. He started to gasp for air. Others around him noticed that he was in distress, and they began to be in distress, and he actually thought that he was having a heart attack. And the plane climbed even a little further higher to gain altitude to get over the high Venezuelan mountains. The man was panicked. Sisters and brothers, we don't give ourselves enough credit for the breath that we have. You know, some suffer from emphysema, some suffer from asthma, others suffer from respiratory problems. Fortunately, in our society today, we have oxygen. The doctor said, he made it through, by the way, he said afterwards, now he thinks with greater compassion of people who have difficulty breathing, who suffer from lack of oxygen. Breath, the breath of the Holy Spirit. There's another story found on the internet about a man who was very active in his church. He received the sacraments, he attended Mass daily, but the pastor noticed one day that he was not showing up anymore. So he went to make a home visit. It was during the winter. He came to the man's house and both sat by the fireplace. They sat there in silence. The man felt a little bit uncomfortable. And the fire died down. The pastor got up and put a red ember on the fire. Put a red ember on the fire. And slowly the red light from the fire came and got brighter. Then it died down. The pastor went over with his bare hands and picked up an ember and put it on the hearth again to light it. Finally, the man said, Father, I've got it. I will be in church on Sunday. The fire from the Holy Spirit. I think, sisters and brothers, Pentecost, you know, it gives us two things. It gives us breath, and it gives us fire. Like the doctor and the man by the fire, we already have the breath through our baptism, through our confirmation. We already have a heart that we nourish our heart to become on fire, to become more fervent with the presence of Jesus, the presence of the Holy Spirit in our lives. How do we experience the Holy Spirit in our lives? As someone said, Pentecost is not so much a power of God coming down from outside into us, but it's a releasing of the power already within us, breathed into us at our baptisms and by God as creation. You know, we read in the book of Genesis that God breathed into the nostrils of the first human being, the breath of God. Do we realize that in our own lives? God is still among us. We're not waiting for him to come. He's still among us. Do we realize that? That's why when Jesus appears and said, peace be with you, he's bringing the peace that is already there. Be more peaceful. We just finished singing the sequence, Come Holy Spirit. Come Holy Spirit, the highest gift of God. You know, God, humanly speaking, is not with us anymore. He has left us the Holy Spirit. We become the paraclete, if you will, first of all to ourselves and then to those around us. God is speaking to us. We are his nature, if you will, in the world today. We become Christ-like through Jesus coming among us and becoming a human being. We try to transform our hearts, change our hearts into new hearts that speak the words of God, that speak Christ's word. Let us ask God to help us search for that deeper appreciation of who the Lord is in our life. comes to heal us. He comes to strengthen us. He comes to bend us, if you will. He comes to melt our hearts, to warm us, and to guide us. And if we become aware of that, then we can become more Christ-like. We will be allowing the Spirit to move our lives. So as we go forth this Pentecost, next week we begin ordinary time, 30-some weeks of ordinary time. Let us try to realize that and change our hearts, transform our hearts. As someone once said, we have to, first of all, deform ourselves so we can reform ourselves, and then we become transformed. And that's, sisters and brothers, you and me, both, you and I, both need to work at that in our own lives, to have a heart that will be more like the heart of Jesus, a heart that reaches out, a heart that comes to those in our families and says, peace be with you. Have the fruits of the Holy Spirit, the fruits of kindness and gentleness and patience and self-control and forgiveness. Just imagine what our world would be like if we lived with those fruits of the Spirit in our daily experiences and in our daily responsibilities. We would have that true peace on earth that only Jesus himself can bring. So let us, sisters and brothers, realize that, we're all making progress in the spiritual life, but we want to go further. We want to bring those fruits that the Lord has left us to perfection. That's why Jesus left, and left the Holy Spirit with the disciples. You can just imagine those disciples going out on that first day and just, telling everybody that the Lord has come upon them, speaking in different tongues. So let us, again, as we go forth today, to renew in our own hearts the gift of the Holy Spirit, to exercise that Spirit in our daily activities, so that we can truly believe when Jesus and the Holy Spirit speaks with us, that peace is with us.